beet salad, wilted beet greens and feta, rice, beets, some goat feta, some butter beans, garlic, walnuts, olive oil, and apple cider vinegar. And I'm going to talk about this book. I don't know what James has brought out to talk about.
Oh, look at that. Just a blank cover.
Yeah, that one's
So stay tuned. This is like a mystery critique, but I'm going to give it away here. It's a spoiler alert, just in case you wanted to be surprised. Corbett, Classical Rhetoric for the Modern Student. Well, maybe not so modern anymore. When was this put out? 70 or something like that? 1965, actually, a little early for the interest in classical rhetoric, but then the second edition, 70. So I can recall in the 70s, there was when I was out of university studying language, they were talking about reviving interest in classical rhetoric and stuff like that. So, did you want me to talk first? You talk first. Make sure you get yours in.
Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this book. I actually introduced it to you when we were caring for a baby bird. And I was trying to figure out, well, who is this little guy? So, anyway, it's not my favorite of my bird identification books, but I've packed all of my others away, so this is the one that I have out, and it's not bad.
It's pretty good, I thought.
Yeah.
But you know that you got better, I guess.
Yes. So, yeah.
So you got thicker ones, like with more detail? There. Maybe hardcover as well.
Yeah. And well, this one, although it's a western region, so it's pretty thick given it's western.
Western North America, right?
Yeah. And so there's a lot of birds in there that it's really unlikely we're going to see here in southern Alberta, because they're down in California.
Or Texas. Texas, a long way down there. Florida? No, Florida doesn't have. But I presume Texas would be part of the western. California, very different climate here.
Yeah. But who knows, with all the fires, you may be seeing some interesting bird
well,
species.
we saw a little
around here.
red-headed fella here that we figured was, I can't remember, some type of finch, wasn't it? That he was well out of his range. And he came from southwest of here, and I figure, possibly, that if we identified him correctly.
Oh, we did.
It looked very that maybe he'd been flushed out by the forest fires southwest of here. Happened again this year. And it also might be just global warming. I guess it's okay to still say that. We're not going to get witch hunted if we say global warming and not climate change or climate crisis, what everyone's saying now.
But in any case, you may want to pick up a bird identification book of some kind, because the birds are really going to need our help this summer. It's a bad summer for them.
Scorching.
So just do what you can. Everybody can only do so much, and most people are going to do zero. So you'll be doing more than most people to help the birds.
Because we need the birds. Plus, they're nice.
They're nice to have around. And yeah, it's a tough summer for them. I don't know. I feel for them. Poor little guys. Angels falling out of the sky. Please do talk about your book.
All right. Now, it says here I finished it on 29th of January 2020. But I'm pretty sure I didn't review this. I think I just made a mistake and put 2020 instead of 2021. I had trouble adjusting at the beginning of this year. Kept on saying 2020. People do that a little bit. I had particular trouble this year. With my books, I usually put in when I finish them. Sometimes when I start them, I put in when I start. So this probably is out of print now. There's a second edition. I don't know. Oftentimes these things will run to, maybe 5 editions or something like that, and then the person who put them out retires, or dies, or something. And so this is put up by Oxford University Press, and unlike so many Oxford University Press editions nowadays, I can't recall there being a lot of mistakes in here. Nowadays they're just all sorts of errors. This is a 21st century Oxford University Press, and they're charging huge amounts of money for your textbooks. And I find mistakes in the maps, misspellings, misprints, or misquotes, but it's shameful. You're supposed to have a reputation, and you'll be getting a reputation. Get a reputation with me for incompetence. You're supposed to be like one of the top universities in the world, presumably one of the top publishing companies in the world. Wow. But anyway, this one's pretty good. There is the thing that I like the best is was the listing of various sorts of rhetorical techniques and stuff. I always find that they're a little bit dealing with classical rhetoric. They identify certain rhetorical techniques like chiasmus and stuff like that, but there are a lot of things that have been devised since, and a lot of things that were devised in classical times that just weren't singled out. So yeah, they've got a section on figures of speech, and then various schemes and stuff like that, like antithesis, parenthesis, anastrophe, inversion of the natural or usual word order. I don't like that unless it's something that, like, you're trying to duplicate the way a person speaks. But especially in poetry, it's awful, And I really think that Latin poetry, though, and Greek poetry too, though it has its strengths, like it doesn't tend to be romantic, thank heavens. At least the better stuff. They had this bad habit of inverting. No, inversion in Latin, for example, isn't as bad as inversion in English, but they had a word order. A prose word order, and I suspect the average person sitting down to read Latin poetry, they could read, would be off-put by the poetry and inversion. My suspicion too was the average speech, Latin speech, was a whole lot less conservative. Like they probably are already breaking down word endings as a clue to grammar. So, does this come recommended? I don't know if it's necessary or anything like that. I never took rhetoric at university, going through to get an English degree. So I figured I'd try to make up for that lack. And I'm afraid that that's what a lot of people who go through university don't do. They don't get enough of a, I hate this word, but grounding in general studies, first and foremost, first couple of years, and then just general stuff within their field. So if they go into English, they don't get this, they don't get that. Then they get into grad studies, and they just start specializing. They never make up that lack, and it's sad, because not sad for them. They end up getting the professors and things like that, get huge coin, who are leading what's, not to hear them talk, but what really is a pretty slack lifestyle. And they can strut around pretending, not just themselves, but a whole whack of other people that they know about everything. Whereas in actual fact, within their chosen field, they don't know everything. They know a lot about a particular subfield of their field, but it's very limited. So I'm trying to make up for that lack. I feel pretty good. I'm going to be trying to memorize the schemes and tropes and figures of speech as possible. So I'm going to be going through it again, is what I'm saying. And again, because going through it once, when it's a text or anything that's important to me, is just not enough. 3 times minimum. And this one's worth it. So that says, that's about as good a review as I can give. There might be things with more listings of various figures of speech, and that I would, something like that I'd find valuable. Or something that's text length, what's it? Yeah, it's well over 600 pages. It's fairly complete. Pretty good. Maybe a few too many examples. I don't like examples. They go on too long. Yeah, readings. Yeah, forget that. Give me examples, little short examples, but don't give me readings.
Yeah. Anyway, what can you do to help the birds this summer? Well, put out a bird bath for them, so they have some access to water.
Yeah.
And remember to dump out your bird bath daily.
Because they tend to bath and they don't need to drink out of it.
Well, yeah, but no, it's not why.
No?
Dump it out daily because with this kind of heat, mosquito larvae grow up so fast. You don't want mosquitoes. So you want to dump out that water daily and replace it.
Yeah, if you've got the heat with water. If you don't have the water, you don't have trouble with mosquitoes. I mean, there's a lot of greenery in your yard. Water. And you don't have standing water.
No. I'm watering right now. I've been watering most of the night. I just moved I'd get up and I'd go move it. In the dark, it was a little hard to see. I should have taken out a flashlight or something, I suppose.
Yeah, I kept hearing clunk clunk. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was falling on your forehead.
But
I was just moving stuff out of it.
Yeah, because we're going to have a mid-30s week with no precip, so... Anyway.
And maybe with a certain degree of breeze, at least, which always makes the drying out worse.
I don't know. And anyway, so I'm watering. Because the birds are going to have a tough time, not only with I mean, when it's droughty like this, then their water is not so available, and neither is their food sources. Like, if you think about it, a lot of when you're picking fruit at the end of the summer, you have a lot of bird holes in it, and you're like, birds love to eat the fruit too. So if you don't have the water
just
going...
not all of it.
No, not all of it. They'll pick a little piece, and they're really
Well,
wasteful about that, I guess. But I mean, that's the way nature is, right? They pick some, and then the insects can get into that fruit, and then the whole cycle continues, right? So
well, there's so much fruit at one time, ripening at one time. They've just got so much to pick through.
Yeah.
Later on, they're picking almost like rotten fruit. Happy for that, I suppose.
well, yeah, they like getting drunk on dried berries that are left on the plant. But yeah, they won't have that. So then we're gonna have to put out more birdseed in the fall for them too, because they won't have anything else available to them. There just won't be enough. But I guess other people have noticed the baby birds, a lot of baby birds dead in the yards and stuff. So sad.
That's not here. That's way up north. Well,
Yeah.
way up north. I mean, they were saying in England or in Europe, northwest Canada is having a huge heat wave. I mean, it's northwest for the settled part of Canada. And it might have been. They might have had a huge heat wave up in the Yukon, but they're talking about Vancouver. Vancouver's almost in the United States. Yeah, in a day, you could walk from Vancouver Central down to the United States. It might be a little bit, particularly if it's hot, like it has been, a bit of an imposition, but you could do it. Walk down into the United States, Point Roberts. Yeah. Anyway.
But there's been uncharacteristic high temperatures in the Peace Country too.
Yeah. So that's kind of central Alberta, but we don't think of it as that way. It's the northern part of agriculture, settlement, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're up there in the wintertime, it feels as though you're right next door to the North Pole.
It's pretty cool.
And I only experienced one winter up there,
And it was
and they were saying it was mild. I go, well, okay, thanks for the information.
So I guess I can't convince you to move up to the Peace Country.
Yeah, tough stuff. They actually had a big melt in the middle of winter. You know, it was scary because it froze over quickly. It was like a skating rink. But a melt in the middle of winter, I think, was pretty uncharacteristic for up there.
Anyway, I don't have anything else to talk about.
Me neither, except Hanford's a good girl here. The big dog we got on the deck. That's why she's out here and the other dogs aren't.
Because she's
we
the good
didn't
one.
want them yammering and hammering in the background while we're trying to save them.